everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Appalachia. Galactic Warrior in Appalachia. Beautiful Sunday, June 1st. Just beautiful out today. Not too humid. Almost finished my nature path. Walk around part of my property here. Got it all pea graveled and everything. Got one more section to do, and that'll be phase one. So I wanted to, as I was remembering some things yesterday about a change of a new phase of life 3 years ago that started yesterday or the day before. I'm reminded of something I learned down in Costa Rica back in 2019 when I was down there to do the plant medicine ayahuasca. And that is that people will come into your life for one of three reasons. Either for a reason, for a season, or forever. So I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was reminded of something that happened to me when I first arrived here in North Carolina 3 years ago. So I was staying in Asheville. I spent 2 months in Asheville at an extended stay America. And I would go out to the Blue Ridge Parkway, which was only a few miles away, and to a visitor center on the parkway. And from there was a trail that led to a folk arts center. Just a beautiful place, just handmade crafts all over, bowls and spoons, the whole wood thing, and the ceramics, jewelry, paintings. It was just beautiful, beautiful energy place, with all this stuff that was handmade. And so I did that walk quite a few times, even with all the signs about black bears, which is kind of funny. But it was a good hour, 90-minute walk, something like that, one way. And so that would be a good afternoon endeavor. And one day when I was on that walk, these people were coming towards me. There's about two or three of them, maybe two, maybe three. And one was a young man, and just as we crossed, he just stops out of nowhere and looks at me and says, "Have you ever been to Cherokee?" And I said, "No." And he looks at me and goes, "I always wanted to go to Cherokee." And that was the end of the conversation. And he turns and walks away. There was a woman, and there might have been a third person. I took about 2 steps and I stopped and I went, "Okay, universe, what's this all about? What are you trying to tell me?" I knew that this was a message. I had been doing a lot of meditation at that time and trying to process a lot of emotions. And I just knew this, and I remember it was a Saturday. And so the next day, I hopped in my vehicle and drove about 2 hours to Cherokee, North Carolina. Cherokee, North Carolina is a tourist town, basically owned by the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indian tribe, the Western Band, which is the band that left in the Trail of Tears back in the 1830s and went to Oklahoma. So there's two of them, East and West Band. But the Eastern Band stayed there, and it's an interesting story about how they purchased all the property of the town, basically, pretty much all of it. But they had to do it more than once because the U.S. government kept shafting them. Not unusual. But anyways, I went there and I ended up in this one jewelry shop, a guy and his wife, and I talked to the wife for quite a while about the town and beautiful turquoise stuff, and he made it all. And then I came back, and when I left Asheville, which would have been at the end of July, early August 2022, I moved to, I rented a house in a place called Whittier, North Carolina, which was very close to Cherokee, much closer than Asheville. And I ended up going to Cherokee a few more times. I went to the museum, which was very nice. And but it was from Whittier that I ended up finding Murphy, North Carolina, and moving down here into the place where I'm at now, which is just outside of Murphy, in Cherokee County. So I didn't end up in Cherokee City. I ended up in Cherokee County. Have you ever been to Cherokee? I always remember that young man asking me, "Have you ever been to Cherokee?" And here I am for the last 2 years now, over 2 years, 2.5 years in Cherokee County, North Carolina. So this is an example of someone who came into my life for a brief instant, but possibly for a reason, to give me a message. It's fascinating. Or it could have been just pure luck, but I like the first reason. Okay. So there's a reason, and it could be a cashier in a store, could be anywhere. Someone comes into your life for a reason. They could be a guardian angel, they could be a messenger from God, or they could be someone here to teach you a very difficult lesson. And then we get to a season. People who come into our lives for a season. What's a season? Well, a season is a longer period of time. Marriages and divorces would be a season. Other relationships, jobs, that we take are a season. And people come into our lives, and from what I've experienced in my own life, is they come into our lives and they'll keep coming into our lives until we get it, whatever it is we're supposed to get, whatever lesson we're supposed to learn. Okay, that kind of thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of seasons in our life. At least because people come in and out all the time, for periods of time that could be weeks, months, years. I lived in Italy for 7 years, longest I've ever lived anywhere. That was a long season. Um, so you can look at it that way. And there was a lot of reasons for that season. It was an area of the world that I had to go back to, I believe, to spend that time there for part of a initiation process. It was really the kind of the beginning of an initiate. It was the end. It was the end of one season, with regards to that marriage, but it was the beginning of another phase of life, the much more spiritual phase of life that literally happened right after that relationship ended. So that was a season that had a lot of different purposes to it. The exploration of that area of the world, everything from the old churches to the mountain area. There was so much exploration. And even meeting some of the people I met, one in particular, one couple who were became very dear friends. And they really introduced me to the concept of mysticism. I have to thank Bruno and Pat, Bruno especially, we used to have a lot of interesting conversations, and he educated me on some things about mysticism, and it was part of the early part of my initiation into this more spiritual realm, shall we say. So be cognizant of the people who come into your life, and really dive into why. If it's especially for the seasons, it's not all what's just on the surface. And then there's the people that come into our lives forever, which starts with family. We're with family for our entire life. My sister, cousins, things like that. Some people who have spouses for their entire life. But I think most of it is reason and season. And the seasonal ones are the ones that really help us with the lessons and the introspection as I look back on them all. And there's been a lot of them. A lot of of course, when you get to this age, you have a lot of seasons. So look into your own history and ponder the reasons and the seasons of your life and see what comes up. See what repeats. I did a video just recently about repeating patterns in life, and this is part of that same conversation. Is if we don't get it, it's going to keep repeating, and that's what happened to me. In a couple areas of my life, that's happened, even until recently, because I just wasn't getting it, right? And now I get it. Both of them. There's two particular areas of life. So I hope this helps. I hope that you are enjoying this beautiful Sunday wherever you are. And we'll be back soon. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this quiet afternoon. Sun shining, wind blowing, birds chirping. Got a little birdhouse right here. There's a little bird in there. I don't know if she's got a family or not. I think she does. But she's coming in and out of there every morning like a dive bomber. Just shoo, 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 shoo. It's amazing. Because the hole's about that big. And she just right in there. Just amazing how they do that. But it's fun to watch as the sun's coming up. She'll be coming in and out. So enjoy your week wherever you are. And we'll be back soon. So, cosmic energy, earth energy, heart energy. Send loving heart energy out to all beings, all dimensions, all timelines, all realities. May this day be filled with compassion, loving kindness, and courage. Till next time.